Hello everybody and welcome back to G for G, Games for Gamers. Today we are going to take a look at a Rocket Raccoon team-up group in Marvel Avengers Alliance. I like to call it a real sleeper group because I don't think it is readily apparent. I think it doesn't exactly jump off the page at you, and it's something that I happen to encounter along the way, and I think it could be a potentially powerful team up with Rocket. As people may have thought, there's some obvious team ups out there like Union Jack jumps off the page at you. Hogun has proven to be an extremely good team up for him, especially if you have the Tankard, which counts your agent as a Warriors 3. Fanduel's not too bad for Rocket Raccoon. You get a D power in there. Only On Guard will really count for proccing Rocky. Psylocke, especially if you have Psylocke's ISO, that is also a fairly obvious one. Anything where you could set up flanks, infiltrators getting extra attacks, but there was one that I encountered along the way simply because I got an ISO, and I think it's a fantastic team up, and I'm going to show it to you now. So first I'm going to go into the simulator, and we're going to deal with multiple enemies, and I'm going to get my little root of the team up over here, and it's going to be Sif. And it's going to be Sif with her special berzerking A ISO. And we're going to go ahead and get Rocket Raccoon. Now, this will probably work with any version of Sif. I just happen to have her in her default. So for the agent, I'm going to go with an extremely overpowered and very rocket-friendly setup. I'm going to go ahead and get the Power Cell MK3 from the Vindicator set. And I'm going to go ahead and get the Stalker. And we're going to watch the fun begin. Now, at this point, the Elixir of Recovery is there to give Sif a double attack regardless of whether or not there is an infiltrator. I think that's a pretty key item. The synthetic cube is honestly, it's toggleable. You don't have to do it. If you run the chitter chatter box, you set up another round of flanked, which gives, of course, people multiple attacks, which gives Rocket Raccoon more attacks. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in play with the synthetic cube. New on the store tonight is the Flaming Post. Slightly related, it is the flaming cousin to the Traumatic Post. Now, the Flaming Post has a passive, an undispellable, called Flame War. A chance to counter single target attacks, applies pyrophoric and flanked. This does not go out if you attack with the item. It only goes out if you counterattack with the item. Flanked and pyrophoric work wonderfully for Rocket Raccoon. So I really think this is a nice little rocket item over here. It has counterattack, it's customized, it's psychic, and it applies burning. So attacking with it will apply the burning, and it'll be a psychic attack, but Flame War only goes off of a counter. Make sure you take that into consideration if you're interested in purchasing the item. I think it's good with any flamers, and I think it's a nice little setup for Rocket Raccoon. But we're going to go ahead and stick with the synthetic cube and the elixir. We technically don't have to because we have a infiltrator in this group. But obviously, if you're going to be PvPing with Rocket Raccoon, you might not necessarily come across an infiltrator. It's a little slow to load the simulator here. Guess the matrix is down. So it looks like Dark Hawk is going to go first. And he's going to attack Sif. And hopefully he doesn't attack my agent. Ah, great. Now he's going to get combat reflexes. Balls. Oh no, that's right. That's the blaster. I'm sorry. Bowman is the one who's the infiltrator. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and open up with the Elixir of Recovery. That'll give Rocket his crit bonus, and it'll give Sif her double attack. I'm then going to go ahead and use the Stalker and avoid hitting Bowman, because I don't want to get his combat reflexes going. So we'll plug Dark Hawkeye, who, Jesus, may as well be giving me combat reflexes. So now Stalker has been applied, and Surveillance has gone out, and here comes his rapid... God damn it. This jackass. Okay, so here is where this is a nice little sleeper hit. Inspire Courage now gives everybody Berserker, and I think this Berserker procs a lot. So, what this is going to do is it's going to give everybody Fortified, and it's going to make her next attack a guaranteed critical hit. So, Berzerking is now out on the team, as is Fortified, which is nice for the Blaster over here. And we're going to go for Bowman, who takes a really solid... And look, Berserker has already. So, Rocket Raccoon is going to jump in because of the double attack. Apply pain, radiation exposure, and second trigger happy because the agent is going to berserk. Well, actually, wow, a third. There's an extra one in there. I'm not too sure where we got the extra one from. So now we're going to go ahead and lead with Blam Blam Blam. And we're going to go ahead and recharge. Alright, so on our turn again, we're going to go ahead and avoid hitting Bowman. I could do this, which would be a valid play in PvP, but for now, we're just going to plug Dark Hawkeye. In PvP, if there wasn't an infiltrator, you would spread the love with your Stalker and place it on somebody else. Because now this is where the fun's going to start. If, of course, Dark Hawkeye would fucking stop attacking me. I'm almost better off having gone for Bowman, really. Well, now you know what it might be like fighting Taskmaster in PvP. So, of course, here comes Bowman. He's going to go for the tactician. Of course. And Berserker procced on Rocket Raccoon. So he's getting a free counter. Pyrophoric's going to spread. Radiation exposure's now completely jacked up. Here we go. God, these two are assholes. And now here's Surveillance. So there's the attack due to Surveillance. And he'll probably get a trigger happy when Sif does her job. So there's trigger happy. Are you beginning to get the idea now of how this is an extremely strong combination? Yes, Mystic is going to slow this down, because you won't get debuffs. But you'll still actually have the physical attack. So we've got more Surveillance. And Trigger Happy's going to put him down due to Pyrophoric. And he's going to go again. So there you go. There is Berzerking Sif and Rocket Raccoon. A nice little sleeper hit that could come out of nowhere, because if people are maybe stacking infiltrators on defense to counter tacticians, it's risky, but you know, there are some good infiltrators out there. And this is a team up that I don't think leaps off the page at people, and I find it really, really strong. Another one that I find really strong with this group is Taskmaster and Berzerking Sif. But Rocket Raccoon, I think, works great with it because he's got so much he can jump in on. And if you put Stalker out on multiple people, especially somebody who acts twice, like Quicksilver or Omega Sentinel or Rescue when she gets her aftercharge over there with the burners, you're going to be doing so much damage for free. And it's a potentially workable team for defense. Not so much Rocket Raccoon himself. That's, of course, very, very risky. But Sif on defense, being a scrapper with that Berzerking ISO, I think is really strong. So now, what variations can you do to this team? Well, my browser is responding. I could actually show you. A couple things you could potentially do to the agent is, since all of those items count as a counter or a follow-up, Raft Shank is really nice for it due to Pincushion. Fandral also puts out Pincushion. So you could take out the synthetic cube, risking the longevity of your team, and you can run a Raft Shank. It'll protect your team from counter combos, and it'll put out Pincushion. You could put in Bashengas to really jack your attacks up. You could put in Chitter Chatterbox to create more flanked. If enemies are flanked, Rocket Raccoon will attack more. You could put in the Obliterator instead of the Stalker, which is a guaranteed follow-up, because it attacks twice when you use the charge. You could put in the Neurotrope, which will cause combat awareness. You could put in the Coulson's Revenge as a stat stick, creating extra attacks. You could put in the Cosmic Cardinal, which may fire off an extra attack. So there's really a lot of things you could do with this. You could put in the Psychic Amplifier to clean off some buffs and get an extra round of being really beefy. The Incinerator unit has a follow-up attack sometimes. So there's a lot you can do, but I think as it stands, the big keys are the Power Cell and the Stalker, the Tankard, which guarantees close quarters combat on Sif and crits on your Rocket Raccoon, and an extra turn on your Tactician Agent. And, the fourth item is kind of up to you, whatever you think works. So, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Flaming Post, the Raft Shank, and the potential sleeper hit team of Sif and Rocket Raccoon. Haven't named it yet, but maybe I'll have something by the time I upload the video. So, hope you enjoyed this video here on G4G. Take care, everybody.